usually, when we chant, what is the most proper intention to have? Because like, when we do our rounds, it's kind of more in the base of finishing it for the day, and then when you're done with the last round, you're like, oh, I'm finally finished, and that's not the proper intention when you chant. That's my intention most of the time. So how do we know what is the proper intention?
It's, first of all, it's subjective. It's not better or best. It's subjective. And to get a clue about, proper intention, Shikshastika is there. So I invite you, go to Shikshastika, and you can start with Shikshastika 3 and have that intention. Let me chant with that intention. And that intention draws Krishna's mercy. But then there's further and further and further unfolding of intention. It's not like you can't know what's down the street or down when your GPS gives you the goal. It's not like you can't be conscious of where you are at present. It's good to be conscious of both. And your intention, prepare yourself for maturity and flexibility. As your internal bhakti grows, the intention is going to modify or shift a little bit, and it's good if it does. It doesn't mean that the prior one is now discarded, but the prior one is now matured and then unfolding. But back again to what I said at the beginning, it's quite subjective. It must be subjective because we're persons. Subject, object, Krishna is the object. So a nice one, just in principle, is I want to restore my forgotten relationship with Krishna. And so it's about relationships, the relationship with the holy name, who is a person, versus helping to restore my relationship with the form of Krishna and the activities of Krishna, etc. Krishna is the object. That was interesting. So back to your question. Go to Shikshastika, become familiar with it, and where does it resonate? By being introspective of where your bhakti trajectory is at present, and I resonate with this. This is realistic for me. And then keep looking ahead. When will that day come when it'll mature to these other stages?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. That's a roadmap, Shikshastika. Something else.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, okay. So we keep on hearing, and so is it we should be consistent hearing from one person, because reading Prabhupada books and hearing from one of the lectures and everything, but sometimes we carried away seeing one devotee giving, and we liking the lecture and hearing from him again, and so it's not from one devotee. We keep on hearing from Prabhupada books, which has to be read, and Maharaj lectures, and again few other devotees lectures and everything. So should we be consistently hearing from one devotee, or is it okay that we sometimes keep?
I know your prior training.
Okay.
And the question is coming from your prior training.
Not on prior training, but
right. You know what I'm saying.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying.
Okay.
You have a nice daughter. And it's very natural for your nice daughter to feel close to you. There's many of us in the room, but she feels close to you. And so it's natural that she likes to hear from you. This little boy is another story. So, in course of time, your daughter, as she becomes mature, is going to hear from others than just you. It's quite natural. But she has a special appreciation and affinity for you as your father, as her father. And similarly, it's in our spiritual life. Just like this question that came yesterday from the devotee that has her reading group, and her reading group completed Canto 9, and now it's moving on to Canto 10. So, Krishna book and the Bhaktivedanta purports, which are now, good part of the Canto 10, is the disciples of not Srila Prabhupada. And even in Prabhupada's purports, he'll take either explicitly quote Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, someone, Sridhar Swami, Jiva Goswami, or paraphrase it and say it himself in his own words. So we're already having faith in Prabhupada getting multiple persons. And then as one matures, one can hear multiple persons, but the ground zero, or the place of entry, is our founder, Acharya, and his Bhaktivedanta purports. And then there's persons who we've grown to have faith in, and we like hearing from them for a variety of reasons, but we feel confident and, this is a wholesome place to hear from. So then now comes your question. Is it necessary? No, it's not necessary. Do we only hear from one person? Primary of the Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for followers of ISKCON. But supposing somebody is raised in a different sampradaya. There are some persons raised. So now what do you do about that? Does this go in the parking lot, or what do you do? Primarily become familiar with Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada's teachings and the predecessor acharyas, and then you can go over to the parking lot and make a compare and contrast and some appreciation. But that's at a mature stage, and the less than mature, not yet mature stage is primarily from our founder Acharya and his books, and that person or those few persons who we are accustomed to hearing from, so we get clarity in the Siddhanta. And then it's natural, just like your daughter hearing from other people besides you about things, about life, and about Krishna, and about teachings. It's going to happen. It's wholesome and it's natural. So similarly for us. But there's the primary. Okay. She has something.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is not working, so
Yeah.
don't want to.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was actually struggling to wake up early in the morning.
You have trouble getting up early in the morning.
Early in the morning. I wanted to do that in the Kartika month as an austerity, but when you came, it happened. We were all getting up early, so that fixed the problem. So thank you very much for your association, and I think I feel very joyful. This whole month is such, there's something in this month that's really awakening in my heart, like that.
Nice.
which I want to keep it for the whole year. So, I'm curious about what is like, how is your typical day look like?
Say it slowly. You're curious about
What is your typical day look like?
what does my everyday look like? Well, I shared something this morning. I generally get up before other people. Not just here in Dallas, but I get up early. I mean, not always, depends on what's going on the night before and how late I take rest. But it's just my habit. It's become my habit from years and years and years and years and years. You know, starting with, it was conscripted practically by temple schedule. But even in temple schedule, Mangal Arati is at 4 o'clock, and it was common for me to be sitting in the temple room well before 4:30, chanting japa. It just, became, and has continued to be. So rather than go through what my daily schedule is, I think it's a proper response to your question is to give you encouragement from the starting point of your little sharing is one of the best things that you can do, or any of us can do for our spiritual life is develop the habit of rising early. Because the early morning hours are the best for any kind of spiritual activity. And there's a real simple secret, common sense secret. Take rest on time. Get up early. Whatever that is. However many hours you require for your body to be rested, start earlier to take rest and get up when it's time to get up. Same amount of rest. Something I learned from an Ayurvedic doctor was, according to Ayurveda, sleep that begins after 10 o'clock is less effective. You'll need more sleep if you take rest after 10 o'clock. And if better than 10 o'clock is 9 o'clock. I didn't ask, what's the basis of all of this, but this is what the Ayurvedic doctor said. Best, when you can, take rest by 9 o'clock. And then you'll need less sleep to be rested for the next morning. Now some people require X and some people want Y and some people Z hours of rest. So take the rest that you need, but take rest early, get up early, because it's the best for your spiritual practices. Why? Because in those early morning hours, it's not tamagun, it's sattvagun. There's not disturbances, passion hasn't started ramping up yet, and you can be more peaceful and focused. That's, common sense and practical experience and Vedic. So after this month, this blissful, beneficial month is over, practice during this month and see as much, not fanatical, but leverage in that direction. And it's simple, just take rest at the right time, know how much rest you need, and get up in an early hour. Then when your sadhana is strong in an early morning, everything else becomes easier or more focused. When you're unfocused, it's hard to be focused. When you're focused, it's easy for the rest of your activities to be focused. I learned that 54 years ago. It was true. By by chanting in the morning. In college, still a college kid. I decided I wanted to chant 16 rounds. I was already chanting some, so I decided, so how's that possible? Because I have, academic work. But somehow, so I decided somehow, in the best way is the morning. So what I found was, instead of doing schoolwork at night, girls, instead of doing schoolwork at night, I decided this is the cutoff time, and then I'm going to go to sleep at this time, get up at that time, and chant in the morning, and then do my whatever residual schoolwork after that. Here's what happened. 3 things happened. I didn't try for it, but instead of sleeping 8 hours a night, it became 6 hours a night, because I was so energized from chanting, from 4 rounds to 16. And then when I did my academic work, being energized and focused, it took less time than it would have taken at night. So now, 2 hours less sleep, less time with my academic work, so now I had time to read Bhagavad Gita. But it was just one thing took care of many things. And that's life, bhakti life. So that was a college kid, and it's true for everybody, in principle. And it's easier to say it than to do it. Once you have a habit, to change from this habit to that habit, takes a while, and some determination. But if without determination, you're not going to make spiritual progress anyways. You have to make even material progress, or to speak of spiritual progress. So that comes intention. What the intention? And that drives attention, drives your energy. You have something.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So
Okay. So I remember what you said.
Whoa, a little further away.
Sorry.
Volume is good.
So I remember what you said during the lecture about the way to capture Krishna is with His mercy and also with our intention,
Our effort.
our effort. So,
behind the effort is intention, yes.
but like I feel like people coming into Krishna consciousness, they tend to have a misconstrued conception of what unconditional mercy means when we were talking about Krishna's glories in general. So in order to combat this, is it okay if you could tell me what exactly unconditional mercy means? Because I feel like even though, let's say, in order to capture Krishna, we must also use our effort. And behind that, we should have good intentions when approaching Krishna.
Well, so you want to know what unconditional mercy is? That's the punchline.
Yeah.
Yep. The sun shines unconditionally. Sometimes, like this morning, the clouds block the sun, but the sun is shining. So if you got in an airplane or something and went above the clouds, the sun is shining unobstructed. But the sun is shining obstructed or unobstructed causelessly. I mean, without material condition. Or, not only there's clouds in the sky, but when Krishna is merciful and sending his mercy to you or to everyone, one can hide under a rock, and you don't feel that mercy. So the variable is not Krishna's mercy. The variable is our orientation towards Krishna's mercy. Supposing you're in Maya, supposing you're in material consciousness, Kartaham iti manyate consciousness, you know the meaning. I'm the door. Karta, aham. I'm going to make it happen. Go. I got a plan. Go. I'm going to make it happen. That's a cloud. It blocks Krishna's mercy. So Krishna doesn't interfere with your false ego. You know, he doesn't want it, but he doesn't interfere with it. And you're going forward with your false ego program. Krishna's mercy is there causelessly, unconditionally, anyways, but we're not experiencing it because we got this other thing going on. The karta hum, the false ego thing. I'm the door. I'm gonna get it done, watch it. I've done these things, and I'm gonna do this thing too, and here I come. Look out, here I come. So, that person is not going to experience Krishna's causeless mercy. It is not because Krishna is not causelessly merciful. It's because our attention is elsewhere. And then comes the intention topic again. If the intention is to make our connection with Krishna revived once again, and you stay with it, you stay with it, you stay with it, you follow the vidhis of sadhana bhakti, but behind those vidhis, like chanting and everything, rising early and everything else, there's an intention. And then I become more capable of being recipient of the causeless mercy. The variable is not on Krishna's side, the variable is over here. You can read Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, text 22. It will help you understand the answer to your question. Sadasat Yoni Janaso. We're the architects of our good fortune, ill fortune. Krishna is not to blame for our good fortune, ill fortune. He's causelessly merciful. The sun shines. Day and night, the sun shines. It may be blocked, but the sun shines. Okay, Srila Prabhupada.